Hey guys, welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to take pictures of fireworks. And this is good for any time of the year you guys might have fireworks going on in where you live. And I just want to show you how I do it. Today, I'm going to be using my Nikon D700 and a 70 to 300 millimeter lens. So when you're setting this up, the first thing you want to do is set your camera onto a sturdy tripod. The sturdier the better, so you don't have any motion blur whatsoever from holding your camera. You don't want any camera shake at all. The next thing you want to make sure you're using is either your timer on your camera for 1 to 10 seconds, maybe even a little longer depending on how the increments are between fireworks, or a shutter release or cable release that's made for your camera. That way you get nice sharp images. Another setting you want to use, depending on the lens that you're using, which I'm using a 70 to 300 on this, you want to use an f-stop between f8 and f16. I'm using a setting of f11 right now, but I might change it depending on how much depth of field I want in my image. We'll see. The fireworks that are going to be going on behind me are actually pretty far away, so we'll see. It just depends. Might have to adjust a little bit. But that's the general setting that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using an ISO of 100, but on my camera it's L3. And I'm going to be using my bulb mode in my camera because I'm using my shutter release. Another thing you want to make sure is that you have plenty of battery. Make sure you bring an extra battery with you, because if you're using a camera that uses battery up pretty quick, make sure you just have that extra just in case, so you don't miss out on those really cool, amazing fireworks that are popping up in the air. You also want to make sure that you put your camera in manual mode. That way you can adjust everything manually. You don't have to worry about anything, and it's just, you know what your camera is going to be doing instead of it doing automatically. Another thing that you want to do is turn off your VR or any image stabilization that you might have on your camera. You also want to make sure that you turn your lens into manual setting, so then you have your lens set to infinity, or at least the sharpest point that you would like to focus on. Since I am at a distance, I'm using the infinity setting on my lens. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take those pictures. If anything changes in the process, I'll go ahead and let you know after you look at these photos, and then I'll explain what I did and how I got the pictures, okay? So this is going to be a tutorial for anybody who wants to take those kind of pictures. This also is great for lightning pictures. If you guys are interested in shooting photos of lightning, or if you have lightning any time of the year, go ahead and use these settings because they'll work fantastic with your camera. All right, guys.
If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.
All right, guys. So let me go ahead and go through my actual settings that I used when I was taking these pictures. So I just want to mention that when I was doing this, I actually was just taking pictures with my remote trigger release after I would get the boom in the sky with the firework colors. So first, as you can see, I had the trail with the rocket going up in the sky, and I waited for it to explode. Now, of course, I didn't do it on all these because I was still trying to figure out what I liked. If you want a true firework effect, wait for the rocket to shoot up in the sky and get that nice, beautiful trail, and then the boom to where you see all the colors and all the sparks flying. Okay, that's how I did it. I basically clicked my shutter when I heard the pop, and then I held it down, and then I released it after I saw the sparks. Okay, so that's kind of how I did that. Now, I do want to mention that I ended up using ISO 400 and ISO 500 to accommodate the light that I was getting through my lens. Since I was using the 70 to 300 millimeter lens, I had a longer barrel, and I was using it at approximately 220 millimeters most of the time. I did zoom in and out a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough light going into my camera so that I can get what I needed, because I was actually underexposing by 0.3 with my exposure compensation, and that was so I had a darker foreground a little bit, but then I can also get the nice beautiful highlights of the firework. That was my reasoning behind that. Now, that's only my personal preference when I was using exposure compensation, but that's kind of like what I want to do, because I can always brighten it a little bit if I wanted to, and it's not a very big increment to worry about, and I can still pull up the darks a little bit. So that's what I was thinking when I did that. When you're doing this, you just want to time your pictures to where you're getting all of this, and you just want to set up your scene. So one of the issues that I was actually having is that a couple of the fireworks were actually out of frame. And let me see if I can find one right here. This one would have been beautiful, but unfortunately, the camera, well, the lens was zoomed in too much, and I had missed on this picture. Now it's still beautiful. I'm not saying it's not, but it is cut off a little bit on the top, which was pretty unfortunate. So you might, when you start doing this, you might have to play around with your zoom a little bit to see where you want to get your photos and try to set up your frame. Now, I did not actually know when I was doing this where the fireworks would pop up, because this was actually the first time I actually went to this site. But just kind of get an idea where your fireworks are going to be, set up your shot, and then start taking your pictures. Now, I was also using an f-stop of 16. And then I just had my white balance on auto. And of course, in it, if you are using NX Studio, which is a free software to use with your Nikon camera, I'm using that. You can also use Camera Raw. You can change your white balance, and you can make it a little bit more dramatic or do any effects that you want at all. But the thing is, white balance is still very, you can still change it after the fact, which is nice when you're using raw images. Okay, I think that basically covers everything. Make sure you are using your camera in manual mode. Turn off any vibration reduction setting on your camera, because what happens when you are doing this, the vibration reduction it is trying to fix any kind of vibration that you have, so you might actually have a little bit of a shake in your camera, in your picture, while it's doing that. So turn that off, make sure that's not doing anything at all, and just have fun with this. You will have a great time taking these pictures, and when you actually see it on your screen, you're going to be so happy with the way things look because of it just being a fun experience. Now, earlier in the video, I had mentioned that you should use an ISO of 100. Let me just say that it all depends on what lens you're using to do this. If you're using a longer lens, you'll probably want to end up using an ISO closer to 500. If you're using a shorter lens and you're closer to the fireworks, you might end up using a lower ISO. It all depends on where you're located, what lens you're using, and just how far away you are from the firework in general. And you just want to play around with these settings. These are all my own personal preference, so you can use whatever you like. I'm just setting some guidelines that you can use to go ahead and set up your image, to set up your camera, so then you can take these pictures the way that I did. All right. So I hope you are enjoying these, and I had a lot of fun doing this. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure you hit that like button. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I hope you all are having a great 4th of July if you're in the United States. And please be safe, please take care, and I will see you guys in the next one. All right, take care, please. Bye. If you liked this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel to get notified when new videos get posted. Thank you for watching this video. Please consider checking out some of the other videos on the links at the end of this video.